Hi, I'm Amanda Muller with the Maine Department of Labor, and today I'm going to talk to you about registered apprenticeships. This is a brief overview to give you an idea of whether apprenticeship is something that you would like to explore as a career option for yourself. When you're considering your career options like college, vocational school, military, or even entry-level employment, I do want you to know that apprenticeship is another option. So what is registered apprenticeship? So an apprenticeship is a paid job where apprentices learn while they work. They work for a company and make an hourly wage, just like a regular job. And these are real permanent positions. This makes it different from volunteer work or internships or temporary jobs. And another thing about apprenticeship is the apprentices start work and they start earning money right away, unlike college programs where you are not going to start working and earning money until you complete your degree, which could take 2 to 4 years or sometimes longer. And one of the great things about apprenticeship is that the apprentices are mentored by an experienced worker who supports them in their learning and their growth. And apprenticeships aren't just jobs, but they're structured training programs. And I'll show you what I mean by that in the next slide. But registered apprenticeships also include classroom training to help them to be more skilled at their jobs. And the classes could be in the evenings, it could be online or even during work hours. So that just depends on the program. But one thing that really makes apprenticeship excellent is that apprentices receive raises throughout the length of their apprenticeship. And I'll show you an example. Apprentices also earn at least one industry credential that's related to that occupation. So that could be certificates, occupational licenses, a degree, or maybe a combination of these things. And these credentials make you more valuable as a worker. And another thing I love about apprenticeship is that apprentices do not collect student loan debt, college debt. Their tuition is usually paid for by the employer or by different grants and scholarships. I would say that apprenticeship is for anyone who wants a career, a good job, and is a hands-on learner and a hard worker as well. It's a great option for someone who isn't really interested in a traditional college pathway and they'd like to go straight to work, making money and learning important skills. And so a person who enters an apprenticeship should be someone who's hardworking and committed. The employers are looking for people who show up to work every day and put in the hard work. In the photo here on the slide, it's a picture of a solar panel technician at Revision Energy working on a roof. She's installing a solar panel. And Revision Energy has a solar panel technician electrician apprenticeship program in Portland. So when I said earlier that apprenticeships are structured, this is kind of what I mean. So this is a little picture, a snippet of a document called the schedule of work, and it outlines all the skills that you need to learn on the job to become competent in that apprenticeship. And it tells you how many hours you need to work on those. So this is a snippet of a schedule of work for a heating and ventilation technician apprenticeship. And so you can see here that this apprenticeship requires you to learn how to identify tools and materials for the job, learn what they're used for, how to handle them safely. They also learn how to install propane tanks, furnaces, heating units, and space heaters. These are just a few of the skills for that job. On the right side are the required classes for the same apprenticeship for heating and ventilation and air conditioning technician. And these classes are specific to the employer and to the job. So you're not going to be taking unrelated classes like art history or, biology if it's not related to the job. This one you can actually see it includes instruction on company history. So you become an expert in your job and in the company too. This is just one example, but there are many different schedules of work that I can share with you if you are curious. Earlier, I was talking about how apprentices get raises. So the awesome thing about registered apprenticeship is that the raises are regular. As you gain experience, the longer the apprenticeship is, the more you will earn. And usually that means the higher skill the job is, right? So this is an example. I took an example of a high paying apprenticeship. This is a wage schedule for a plumber with the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 716. You can see on their very first day of work, they start off making $23.25, which is a great wage. They earn a raise for every 1,000 hours that they work, which is about 6 months. When they complete their apprenticeship, they are earning $38.75. That doesn't mean they stop getting raises. That means that they're guaranteed to make that much money when they complete their apprenticeship. What kinds of apprenticeships are in Maine? So this is not an exhaustive list, but which of these occupations sound interesting to you? There's funeral practitioners, bank tellers, medical assistants, nursing assistants, education technicians, teachers, childcare workers, aquaculture technicians, and more. And of course, when you think of apprenticeship, most people think of these skilled trades, construction, heavy equipment, electricians, plumbers, welders, pipe fitters, all those sorts of things. But that's not all. There are lots of different types of apprenticeships in Maine. You see yourself working with children, educating the newest generation of kids, helping them develop their skills in thinking, learning, socializing. Then you may like an apprenticeship for education and childcare. Are you interested in helping people in a medical setting, working directly with patients? Then you would like a nursing assistant apprenticeship. That might be something you'd be interested in exploring. In these photos, you can see nursing assistant apprentices training with the practice patient. Do you like being outdoors and around wildlife, boating, fishing? You might want to check out an aquaculture technician apprenticeship. Aquaculture technicians learn to carefully raise and care for marine life, and they source seafood like oysters and clams, and seaweed and fish and other aquatic animals for grocery stores and restaurants. And in the photo, you can see an apprentice aquaculture technician working on an oyster farm. This machine he's using is used to help separate and wash the oysters. And he operates a boat, and he's outside every day for his job. Do you see yourself building America? Do you consider yourself someone who likes to build and use your hands to break things apart, put things together? You might consider a bridge carpentry apprenticeship. A bridge carpenter is a skilled worker who specializes in constructing and repairing wooden parts of bridges. So that could be the frames, the supports, the railing, and they get to travel all over New England working on bridges. So we've got lots of lakes and rivers here, and we need those to be safe and functional. You might enjoy a career at Ironworks if you are interested in a skilled trade and would like to build warships for the U.S. Navy. Maine is home to Bath Iron Works. There's lots and lots of different jobs at BIW. Electricians are a huge and growing field in the trades. Work is very crucial. The electricians keep our homes and workplaces and restaurants, stores, libraries, hospitals powered. And so if you are detail-oriented, you like to solve problems, and you're energetic, that might be a good career for you. Welders, a very important job. Welders join metal parts together to create strong bonds and durable surfaces, and the work that they do is really essential. They work in construction, they work in manufacturing, they work in shipbuilding. There's a lot of different types of work in welding. So someone who has good hand-eye coordination and attention to detail would make a good welder. Carpenters build and install and repair structures that are made out of wood. They build the skeletal structure of houses and buildings, other buildings, and they also install final touches in inside buildings like trim and molding, cabinets, doors, that sort of thing. In the picture, we have some female apprentices working at Maine Passive House, and they're building homes. Automotive technicians are highly skilled and very valuable. If you're interested in working on cars and you don't mind getting dirty, automotive apprenticeship might be for you. And there are many, many more. They're just a few examples of apprenticeships in Maine. Did you know that vocational rehabilitation does company tours? Last summer, we invited students on a tour of Fertile Farms. We went on a boat ride. We learned about the phases of the oyster life. We learned how they raise and harvest the oysters, and they even showed us how to shuck the oysters, and we had an oyster tasting. You can go on tours too. If you talk to your VR counselor, if you're interested in job tours and job shadows and informational interviews, we can definitely work on setting some of those experiences up with you and a group of students. Last year, we also went on a tour of Industrial Roofing Company in Lewiston. Here are some photos of students who got a little lesson in fall safety. They tried on harnesses. They got to practice putting down some liquid silicone to repair a roof. We learned about a machine that stops workers from hitting the ground when they fall off a roof, if they fall off a roof. There was a lot to learn that day. Here's also a photo that I took recently of a young lady trying on a welding shield. We went on a tour of a welding school in Portland, and we learned all about job opportunities in welding, how much training it takes, and who's a good candidate for welding. So who can be an apprentice? Well, you legally have to be at least 16. You need a work authorization. And you really should be able to work full time. So most apprentices are at least 18 and have completed high school. The employer will determine other requirements, which could be high school diploma, driver's license. Sometimes there's background checks and drug testing, just like any other job. Occasionally there's aptitude testing, which means they have you take a test to see that you have the skills to learn the job in a formal apprenticeship. Most don't have this type of testing, but some of them do, such as the electricians union apprenticeship and medical assistants and nursing assistants apprenticeships. Sometimes physical fitness testing is required if you want to be a CDL driver, a commercial truck driver. They want to make sure that you don't have any health conditions that would get worse by working as a driver. If you're interested in apprenticeship, you should visit our website, which is apprenticeship.maine.gov. And when you click on Career Seeker, it's going to take you to a page where you can read about apprenticeship. And there's also a map where you can search for apprenticeship opportunities by occupation, by county. And it's a really great tool to explore apprenticeships. There's also some nice videos on the website that you can watch. And if you want to learn more, definitely reach out to your vocational rehabilitation counselor. So that is all on apprenticeship for today. Coming soon, and the next video will be your pre-apprenticeship guide. Stay tuned for part 2, where you will learn about training programs that teach you the skills and give you some hands-on experience to help you get into an apprenticeship. These are also paid opportunities, and there are opportunities for high school students and recent grads. Thank you. Enjoy.